In the previous video, this is where we got up to. We had our test world and we were able to strafe and move forward and backwards in it, but we weren't able to get the mouse movement happening. So in this video, what we're going to do is get the mouse movement happening and also set up the first simple gun. So in order to do that though, I'm going to need some sprites. So I'm going to go to Realm 667 and I'm going to go to repository and I'm going to find a gun. So if I go armory, if I click on Doom style, I'm just going to grab a pistol, and this one looks pretty good, this angled pistol. So I'll grab that. It's going to download it, and I'm going to put it into my Doom WADs folder, like that. Now, if I go to my Doom WADs folder, I should have the angled gun in here. So I'm going to 7-zip and extract that to here, and then angled pistol. Extract that, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab the sprites folder. So I'm actually going to rename this to angled gun. A big part of game development is asset management, and I'm going to make a new folder in here and call it sprites, and then I'm going to drag that angled gun folder. So I'm going to click on sprites first. I'm going to drag angled gun into there. Now what I need to do with this is I just need to select one of these and click import and change the preset to 2D pixel, and then click preset again, set as default for texture. I'm going to select all of these and click, make sure 2D pixel, set as default for texture, and re-import. That will make sure that they all display properly. Okay, so now we've done that, we've got our gun sprites ready to go. We just want to add the code for the mouse in here. So before we do anything else, we're going to add our code for the mouse. This is going to be the function called unhandled input event. So unhandled input, and then in brackets we've got event. Ooh, I've already got it up here. And in this, we are going to say if the event is a mouse, if the event is input mouse motion, then what we're going to do, and let me just check to make sure I've got I do have it active, good. So you should be able to hear my keyboard. We're going to say rotate Y, negative event. If you want it to have like inverted mouse, you don't have to negative this. Um, relative dot Y times mouse sensitivity. Now let's look at what this code is doing here. So event is the mouse motion in this case. So if the event is input mouse motion, relative.y is the distance that it changed from the previous frame, the Y position, multiplied by mouse sensitivity. This is the up and down. Okay, we're going to rotate Y is the around. So Y is the up down axis. We're going to rotate around that like this. So this is just normal left right rotation. But what we want to do is reference the pivot. So if we go into player, I'll just open the player up so you can see it. Player, pivot. This is what we want to move for the X and Y. We don't want to rotate the player up and down because then their feet will kind of go sideways and they'll turn upside down. It'll just be an absolute mess. So we're going to rotate the pivot dot rotate X. And this is going to be negative event dot relative dot X times mouse sensitivity, and then $pivot.rotation. We're going to clamp this. Pivot.rotation.x equals clamp $pivot.rotation.x negative 1.2. This is in radians, and 1.2. So that's about, looking up, it's about 70 degrees. Looking down, it's about 70 degrees. So we can't look directly up 90 degrees. We can look to about there, and we can look to about there, but we can't look directly up and keep rotating around. You'll get all kinds of errors if you do that. So this is going to clamp the X rotation of the pivot. So this is how clamp works. This is the value that we want to clamp, so we pass that into the clamp thing, and then these are the values that we want it to be between. If it is above those, so if it's above 1.2, it will set it to 1.2. If it's below negative 1.2, it will set it to negative 1.2. If it's between those, it just leaves it. So that's how clamp works. So now we should be able to run our test world. We go back to here, run our test world, and we should be able to look around. Um, oh, what the? Okay, that's really weird. My, why is it like that? Okay, that's bizarre. What have I done wrong? My player, let's just go ahead and check the transform of the player is all good. The transform of the pivot, that's all good. So what have I done wrong? My mouse rotation was really strange. So it was when I was doing the X, it was rotating the wrong way. Oh, okay. Um, that should be X, and that should be Y. Of course, we're in 3D. So X and Y in 3D, X is like that way, Y is that way in 3D. Sorry, in 2D, which is what our mouse operates in. It doesn't have a Z axis. Um, but in 3D, it's different. So Y is the up and down. So we want to spin around that way, and that's going to be our left and right motion on the mouse. And we want to look up and down that way, and that's going to be our Y motion on the mouse. So that's what I got wrong there, and that should be rotation.x. Yep, that should be clamped. Yep, that should be right. So I had those two values around the wrong way. Let's test that again. Oops. Well, that is working, but I'll test it in the world. There we go. Mouse motion. I can move around. All good. All right. So next video, we will actually look at the gun and getting that set up.